You have fallen asleep thousands of times, and you have never once seen it happen. Try it right now. Try to remember the exact moment you fell asleep last night. Not climbing into bed, not the heavy, drifting feeling beforehand, the actual instant you crossed the line from awake to asleep. You can't. Nobody can. It's one of the most ordinary things a human being does, something you'll do again in a few hours, the way you have every night of your life, and your brain refuses to keep a single frame of it. This isn't a quirk, and it isn't bad memory. Your brain is erasing the moment you fall asleep on purpose every single night. And the reason hides something genuinely strange about how you actually work, starting with this. A part of your brain falls asleep before the rest of you does. Here's the first thing we get wrong. We think of sleep as a switch. 1 second you're awake, the next you're gone. But sleep isn't a switch. It's a doorway, and there's a room in between. Sleep scientists call the very first stage of sleep stage 1. It lasts only a few minutes, and it's one of the strangest states your mind ever enters. This is the land of Hypnagogia, the threshold between waking and sleep, named in 1848 by the French scientist Alfred Maury. It's where your thoughts stop making sense and start to drift, where you see flashes of color, faces, places that aren't there, where you suddenly feel like you're falling and your whole body jerks. That's a hypnic jerk, and almost everyone has felt it. And that falling feeling is stranger than it sounds. As you slip under, your heart slows, your breathing softens, your muscles go loose. And one leading idea is that your half-asleep brain misreads that sudden release as actually falling, so it fires a jolt through your body to catch you. Some researchers think it's an ancient reflex, left over from ancestors who slept in trees, where a real slip in the dark could be the last mistake you ever made. Tens of thousands of years later, you still flinch awake at the edge of sleep, bracing for a branch that was never there. And it isn't only your mind that changes at the threshold. Your body gets switched off too. In 1959, the French neuroscientist Michel Jouvet discovered that during dreaming sleep, the brain actively paralyzes the body, cutting the line to your muscles so that whatever you're about to dream, you won't get up and act it out. Usually, this lands in perfect sync with losing awareness, and you're gone before the paralysis ever arrives. But every now and then, the timing slips. The paralysis switches on a moment before your consciousness switches off, and you're left fully awake inside a body that will not move, sometimes with the feeling that something is in the room with you. It has a name, sleep paralysis, and it's a glimpse of how strange this doorway really is, a place where the normal rules of being you quietly come apart. If you wake someone out of stage 1 and ask what they were doing, most will tell you, with complete confidence, that they were still awake, not dreaming, not asleep, just drifting. The state doesn't feel like anything you can hold on to, so the moment exists. It's full of experience, images, sensations, a slow slide out of the world. Which leaves the real question. If all of that is happening, why is there nothing left of it in the morning? To answer that, you have to meet the part of your brain that writes your life down. Deep inside, on each side, sits a small seahorse-shaped structure called the hippocampus. Think of it as the recording head of your memory, the part that takes a moment you're living through and turns it into something you can get back later. Without it, experience just passes through you and vanishes. The most famous proof of that was a man named Henry Molaison, known for decades only by his initials. After an operation in 1953 removed his hippocampus to stop his seizures, he could hold a whole conversation, laugh, connect, mean it, and forget it had ever happened the moment it ended. The psychologist Brenda Milner worked with him for years, watching him live vividly in a present that never became a past. And this is the key to the whole mystery. As you fall asleep, the hippocampus does not shut down at the same time as the rest of your brain. It checks out early. So in those final minutes at the threshold, you get a strange split. Parts of your brain are still awake enough to make experience, the drifting images, the falling, the half-thoughts, but the recorder is already switching off. You are living through the moment of falling asleep. There's just nobody home to write it down. Scientists call this sleep onset amnesia, and it doesn't only erase the crossing itself, it reaches backwards. It quietly deletes the last few minutes before sleep, too. It's why you can read the same page 3 nights running and never get past it. It's why you can't remember the end of the show you were sure you were watching. The recorder was already off before you ever knew you were going under. But the deepest part of this is something researchers only confirmed recently, and it rewrites what it even means to fall asleep. For a long time, we assumed sleep was something that happened to the whole brain at once. It isn't. In 2011, a team led by the neuroscientist Giulio Tononi found something they call local sleep. Individual patches of your brain, small groups of neurons, can slip into a sleep-like state while you are still, technically, awake. Pieces of you nod off before you do. You felt the extreme version of this. When you're truly exhausted, your brain can drop into sleep for a second or two while your eyes are still open. A microsleep. For that instant, you are asleep and awake at the same time, and you almost never catch it happening. So falling asleep isn't one switch flipping. It's more like a building at the end of the night. The lights going out room by room, floor by floor, never all at once. The memory system can already be dark while other parts of your mind are still flickering with the leftovers of the day, which means the you that falls asleep is not one single thing crossing one single line. You're a committee, and they don't all clock out together. In 2000, the Harvard sleep researcher Robert Stickgold ran a beautiful experiment that shows exactly this. He had people play the game Tetris, then watch them fall asleep. As they drifted off, people reported seeing it, falling, turning blocks, drifting down behind their eyes. But here's the twist. He ran the same study with patients whose hippocampus was damaged, people who couldn't form new memories at all. Those patients had no memory of ever playing. They would swear they never touched the game. And yet, as they fell asleep, they saw the falling blocks too. The imagery came without the memory, because at the threshold of sleep, those two things, what your mind experiences and what your brain records, come completely apart. So why would your brain be built to erase this night after night? The leading idea is almost mundane. The drift into sleep is noise. It's fragmented, half-formed, hallucinatory, the static of a mind powering down, and none of it is worth keeping. So your brain closes the gate on the recorder and lets the whole messy transition dissolve, unremembered, rather than clutter the story of your life with the nightly sound of yourself switching off. But step back and something stranger sits underneath it. Every night you perform a small disappearance. For a few minutes, there is a version of you, drifting, seeing things that aren't there, half in the world and half out of it. And that version is never remembered by the person who wakes up. You meet that threshold thousands of times across a life, and you never carry a single thing back across it. It's a little like the blind spot in your eye, the hole in your vision you can't see, because the part of you that would notice it is the part that's missing. You can't watch yourself fall asleep for the same reason. The witness goes to sleep first. And it's why every morning, without ever thinking about it, you perform a small act of faith. You assume the person waking up is the same one who fell asleep, even though there's a gap in the middle that neither of them ever saw. You take it on trust that you're continuous. You have to. You were never awake for the seam. So tonight, you'll do it again. You'll step through the doorway, the lights in your mind going dark room by room, the recorder quietly clicking off. And tomorrow, like every morning of your life, you'll wake up with no memory of the most ordinary vanishing act there is, the one where your brain makes you disappear every single night and never once lets you watch.